What's up, everyone? Beast Mode back here with another video. So today, the first thing I want to do was thank you all for the continued support. We just hit 1K subs on the channel, which is a big milestone because I never really thought that this would go anywhere. And we've been kind of at it for the last 8 or 9 months and finally hit 1K subs. So I want to thank you all again for the support. And because of that, we are going to be throwing a BCS tournament on Saturday. Tournament will start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Signups will begin at 6 p.m. Eastern. Just wanted to give back to the community. Everybody was kind of asking to have a tournament, and I ended up freeing up some space in my schedule. So we are going to do that this Saturday. So if you want to play, obviously join the Beast Mode Discord server, which will be in the description. And it's always free to play. It is single elimination, and that should be a good time. So what I want to do today is I don't really want to do a whole tier list. What I want to do is I want to find out what deck should I play for the next tournament. And I wanted a way to kind of incorporate the channel and a stream and really get you guys involved. So what I want to do is we're going to whip up a quick list of decks that we are going to then kind of vote on seeing which deck we're going to play. And then what I wanted to do is have a stream the Friday before the tournament. So August 5th is the next tournament I'm going to be playing in. Hopefully, I'm expecting my second child. So if that obviously happens, then I will not be playing. But goal is to play. So what I want to do is play on Saturday, but I want to have the stream kind of help make the deck. We'll make the deck on stream, and it's not going to be a troll deck. Whatever deck wins the voting essentially is what we're going to play, and then we are going to make the deck kind of together. If for whatever reason we're not able to make the deck, then we'll find a deck that's done well, and we'll just play that. So because I was thinking about doing this challenge and narrowing it down and picking the deck myself, but I think it'll be a little bit more fun to get everybody involved. So what we're going to do here is essentially we're going to really limit the S tier decks because those decks get played so often and they're always in the top cut, and people are just kind of like, oh, there's a Blackwing list, and they just scroll by it because it's like the same as everything else. So let's kind of the goal is kind of getting into that A tier range because it has to be competitive. If it's not competitive, we're just wasting our time. We're going to be out the first 2 rounds of the tournament. So even maybe into the B tier depending on the list, but we're going to try to stick with the A tier range of decks, which again is all opinion based, really. Tier list of kind of just whatever you feel like, and everybody makes a different list. So let's kind of run through this really quickly. And so X-Saber is unfortunately probably a C tier deck. They just don't have what they need. They're not consistent enough. Chainburn, I'm not going to be playing Chainburn. The deck is uninteractive. It's not fun. And you can make the argument that it's a B tier list deck, whatever, that's fine, but we're not going to play that. That's just not fun for anybody playing in the tournament. So this deck here, I still haven't figured it out. It's like the Gaia OTK deck. I don't think it's very good. We'll put it in the C tier. This is Geared Town, again, C tier, unless you're playing it in Frogs. And this deck is already pretty popular by Rognock. So Fish deck, haven't seen it in the year I've been playing. We'll put that in D tier. This deck here, I don't even know what this is supposed to be, and if I don't know what it is, that means it's probably not that good. So we'll put that in D tier. Let's see here. So Frogs, this is S tier deck. I know it's Diva Frog. I kind of clumped them all together here, so let's just get them all put up. This is Junk Frog, all relatively the same in my opinion. Depends on the flavor of the month. Right now it seems to be Hero Frog, so you can put that, we're not really ranking them more per se. We're just kind of putting them up there. So these are all S tier decks. Gladiator Beast. This deck I don't feel it's good enough to top. I know that people love the deck. It's just not good at all, and I don't know why people play the deck. They continue to play the deck. It's just not good, so we're going to put that in C tier. Disaster Dragons, I do feel is an A tier deck. That was one of the decks I was considering, so we'll put that there. Lice One is probably an A tier deck. This deck is not that fun to play either. It's either you're milling good and, hit all the cards, or you're just not milling that well and you're not having a fun time. Not one that I would like to play. I just don't think that this deck showcases high level skill. And again, I'm not saying I'm high level skill player. There's people that are better than me. They can beat me on any given day, but I just would rather be able to have an interactive game with my opponent. And I just feel like this deck doesn't do that all the time. It can be very unfair if you just mill very good, and your tournament more or less is decided when you wake up, I feel. So Fairies, I feel, is an A tier deck at this point. I do not think it's S tier. I think it's a little overrated. Very difficult to play. I did just post a video if you wanted to see a quick match or two that I played. I think there was a lethal line that I could have had, but otherwise the deck is very difficult, especially with the recruiter line. So Put that in A tier. Dragon Turbo is probably an A tier deck, but the deck just won a major event, and this deck is completely uninteractive for your opponent. It's either they have the card to stop the combo, like DD Crow or whatnot, and if they don't get to play. So we're not going to do that. That's not fun. I want to be able to engage and have a match with my opponent. I don't want to sit there and play for 10 minutes myself. So that's not going to happen. A tier, quick draw. This is kind of the volcanic build, and I think there might be another one here. We'll find it. Here's the other with like hamsters and stuff. That's an A tier deck. Blackwing, S tier. Obviously tops every event. This is the hero beat. So this is like with skill drain and such. Probably A tier. You don't see it top all the time, but it's definitely good. Gravekeepers, this deck, is this even real? As much as I want it to be real, it's probably just a C tier deck. This is Vayu or hybrid Blackwings, same thing. Blackwings, I think regular Blackwings is probably better. I did for one time believe that the hybrid build is more explosive. So when it works, it looks so good, but it seems to be that people are more drawn to the straight, pure, just Blackwing build. So Curaz is not really a real deck. That's like a Carpath deal. Amaryllis is just more or less it just recently topped World or Nationals rather. For a long time it hasn't really done anything. Carpath is probably the only person who's topped with it. It's probably like a C tier deck. Diva Hero Beat, this deck is S tier. It's everywhere right now. It has the highest win rate in War League, and yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about that. Vayu Turbo won 3 tournaments in one weekend, essentially. Big major tournaments. I think it actually won the Time Wizard event in North Carolina. So definitely a popular deck. It's very good. Machine or Gadgets. Gadgets probably have a shot. They're probably like they're probably C tier rather. They're not all that prevalent. They might be B tier. They can win. You have to play like a bunch of Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors and Light Imprisoning Mirrors and D Prison and D Fissure and all that stuff, and it's just not that interactive. I feel like this deck is like Summon Gadget and then Smashing Ground, or Summon Gadget, Nolan, a Crossout. So it's probably a B tier deck, just not that fun. This is Diva Hero. I think this deck is probably pushing S tier. I think I put it there. That deck is really good right now. This is gonna represent the Gemini deck, and this is probably an A tier deck. I'm not entirely sure. It hasn't really done anything yet. I think we might be overhyping. It could be B tier. Let's just put it in the A tier for right now. This is Welladad. Is this deck really A tier? It's done like nothing. I think it just topped like one tournament. It's just a worse version of Diva Zombies, in my opinion, which is probably at the end of S tier. It still wins. Hasn't done anything in a little while, but I also haven't been playing it. I feel like I top a lot of the events I play with this deck. I just haven't really been playing it, and it did do well at a tournament a couple weeks ago. Got second place, but there've been a few events that, especially in paper, just hasn't really been in the top cut. So, but this deck is really good. So that Flameville Zombie is probably a B tier deck. It really doesn't exist. It's only done something in like one of our BCS tournaments. It seems fun though. And Machina, we've already done the Machina deal. It's probably an A tier deck with the Raikou, the Caius, and all that. This is Christiasworn. I still think it's a better version of Lightsworn. I don't know. People continue to play Lightsworn. Maybe the thrill of milling Wolf just excites people, but you also have to remember that you're going to draw and have Wolf in your hand. So that's an A tier deck. Flameville is probably a B tier deck. It hasn't really done anything. I don't even know if it's really got a true top yet. I don't think it's topped in RBET. Maybe it's topped something else, but this is Synchro Cat. This deck's gaining a little bit of popularity. I know it's been topping out over in Italy, but we'll put it in the B tier. It's probably close to A tier maybe, or low end A tier, high B tier. This is the Rose Plant deck that, for whatever reason, people believe is good, and it just doesn't seem to be that great. Hasn't really done a whole lot in terms of topping tournaments. And again, I'm speaking broadly. Maybe there are some events that I'm unaware of, and it's topped. But generally, when you look at and I say premier tournaments, in my opinion of a premier tournament are the larger ones that are online, the RBTs, the Deck Devastators, and the larger tournaments, the in paper RBTs and all that. So that's kind of what I go by. If it's a 20-person tournament, I don't put a whole lot of stock in the decks that top. So sometimes you can just draw pretty lucky and win 3 rounds and just be in the top cut of something. So So this is kind of what we have here, and obviously we're not playing any of these decks. Let's go into so we're not playing frogs. We've already kind of said that. We're going to put these in the low tier for right now. Everybody knows frogs exist. They know that they're up there in terms of, whether you argue it's S tier or A tier, that's whatever. But a lot of people playing the deck, so there's no reason really for me to play it. I feel like most of these S tier decks I could probably pick up and have a really good shot at topping, but the idea is to really try to get some of these decks that are more so competitive, but just don't get enough playing time. A lot of the better players are not playing them. We're going to try to get some of those decks elevated a little bit more into the top cut. So Black Wings tops everything. No need to play that. Hybrid Black Wings, same difference. This is the Diva Hero beat. It's the best deck in War League right now. Vayu topped and won like every event this past week. Diva Hero we've already topped with, so we can check that off the list. Diva Zombies, I've topped more events than I can count in the past year with that deck, so I think for right now we're going to put that down here. Not that I will not. I know everybody is a fan of the zombie player. I am not giving up the deck. I'm just kind of trying this little challenge out and putting it off for a little bit just because I've been playing it for a year straight. So in terms of A tier decks, let's see here. We've already topped with Quick Draw, so we can remove those. That was about a year ago. We topped with Quick Draw. Machina, we just played at the last tournament. I think it was the HRC. I think it was 75 players. We got like 8.5 place, if you want to call it that. We were in the top 8, then we were out of the top 8, in the top 8, out of the top 8 based on tiebreakers. So I think we ended up finishing 9th place. That's good enough for this challenge here. I'm not going to run back the deck just to try to make it one spot up. There's just too many decks to play, and personally I just didn't really care for the deck. I pretty much used it as the Hamster Raiko Caius engine. I really didn't drop many fortresses. So maybe it's probably because I didn't know how to play the deck. I literally picked it up that morning and just my good friend Ryanide sent me the list, and we switched up some cards and we rolled with it. So I would consider that complete. So we're not playing C tier decks. They're just not good enough to really win. And now we're into the A tier deck. So let's see here in terms of what I'm willing to play, because I have to have a good time in terms of playing this game, or I just don't want to play the game, right? If I'm going to sit there and play 8 hours of a tournament, I just want to be engaged and really be able to play. I don't think gadgets are going to excite me enough to play that deck for 8 hours. And I do not think that the Lightsworn builds are just fun enough, or they can be fun if you're milling well, but I just don't think that when you get into the games where you don't mill well, that you can really outplay your opponent per se. It really comes down to how you're milling. I'd rather not roll the whole tournament on milling well. So I think for everybody watching, it'd just be better to not play those decks. This deck here, Hero Beat, it's just not that interactive with your opponent either. It's kind of sit there with skill drain up and play defense the whole time. Not my cup of tea. And let's see here. So Synchro Cat, and then I need to have something that represents like Plant Cat. So what we're gonna use is we're gonna use this here because I don't have it. So Amaryllis is not truly Amaryllis. It's gonna be the Plant Cat. Okay, we kind of keep these two together. So it's either straight Synchro Cat, which is like the Gravekeeper Spy, that type of build, or the Plant Cat, which Snack is known for. It's come close to topping a few events already, and then I've been talking with them. It plays the Mystic Tomato, the Lone Fire, Titanium, and all that, but it also plays the Airbellum and Rescue Cat. So those two decks, they're separate decks. We're going to use the Amaryllis plant to be the little picture for the Cat Plant deck. So this here, zombies, this is essentially Diva Hero, Diva Zombie, just not as good, so why bother doing that? I know Welladad just topped an event, but I think it was like 40 players. Again, that's a great job for that player, but I don't think the deck is all that great. This is zombies. I would rather just play Flameville, like pure Flameville, than just play Flameville Zombie. I feel like I'm just staying away from the zombie cards right now because they're very popular, and the zombie engine can just carry you alone, never mind everything else. So I think this is probably a decent number of decks here. Flameville is pretty fun. We could try Flameville. I know there's one player, Souls Manic, who loves the deck. Again, I'm not sure if it's topped or not. And this is that Rose Twilight deck. Again, not overly familiar with it. I think that is probably good enough to top if you have some tournament luck and the deck is built well. So we are going to have, what we're going to do is we're going to have you guys comment in the comments what you want to see me play. And then the stream on August 4th, we will make the deck together. I think that's what we're going to do. So this is Disaster Dragons, okay? Number 1, we are going to have Fairy, Pure Fairy. We're going to have the Gemini deck. We are going to have the Synchro Cat deck. This is just with Spies and Airbellum. I think this deck just topped the event in Italy, like I said, or got second place. And this here is going to be the Plant Cat deck, okay? That's with the essentially Synchro Cat, but it has no Spies, more or less Dandelions, Lone Fires, and all that. It's kind of like Synchro Cat and Quick Draw mixed. This is pure Flameville. This deck is probably the worst out of all of them, to be honest with you. And this is the Twilight deck. So these two are going to be separate decks for right now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 decks to pick from. Let's kind of narrow it down in the comments here, and we will, maybe throughout the week I will keep track of the comments and start removing decks that are not going to be considered for play. So I'm going to try to roll with one of these decks in the next tournament, and with the help of you guys, we're going to make the deck together. We'll make the side deck as well, and we'll kind of see what happens here. Hopefully we get another top. And really what comes down to having a good time. So these are the decks and again, please don't take any offense to any of the opinions I have of these decks. I'm just not in the mood to play gadgets for 8 hours. If it's your favorite deck, I'm sorry, it's just not for me. Same thing with Lightsworn or Dragon Turbo. I just want to have interactive games. I want to be able to kind of think and try to work my way out of certain situations. And of course, Dragon Turbo is a difficult deck to play. You have to make many decisions in turn 1, but a lot of this doesn't interact with your opponent at all. So I just don't really want to do that. I want to be able to have a little bit of a back and forth game and play like that. So these are the decks that we have here in the S tier. Comment below what you want to see played, and please join us for BCS number 12 on this Saturday. And with that being said, I'll see you all on the next one.